Everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Lucid's 2022 Tournament Game 4, where we are playing Nazca. This is turn 50! Holy shit! We've been in the game longer than it felt like we were gonna be out of it. That's not a phrase that works. We've been in the... So I thought we were gonna be out by, like, turn 20. And that almost happened. And now we've made it to turn 50, so... We've kind of been in the game, not in peril, longer than we were in the game in peril, if that makes sense. So it's kind of a weird scenario. I've been having some thoughts about this game lately. This game, I definitely did not expect this game to go the way that it has, and it's been really interesting here lately. Anyways, incoming trade. We talked about this last turn. We've gotten 25 air gems and 25 astral pearls from Arcus Valley. So very cool. Happy to have. Will make good use of. And then next up we have research completed. Conjuration 4. Boom. Hell yeah. We are on our way. We're only 20 turns behind where we wanted to be with the research that we have. So, oh god, yeah. When I started preparing to play Nazca, right? Like Conjuration 5, that was on the plan to get to at like turn 20, right? Like pretty early on. But yeah, that definitely did not happen. We had a lot of issues, and we still haven't made it to Conjuration 5, but we're very well on our way at this point. So, hopefully things will go well. Question mark. We done some site searching. Got Gnome Lore, didn't find anything. Auspex didn't find anything. We did a trade wind, cool. Arcane Probing found nothing. Horospecs found nothing. Dark Knowledge found nothing. Augury found a Wildfire Glade. Woo! Site searching. Fire +1 per turn. That's... it does hurt a little bit to only find one thing. We are in the Middle Age, so there aren't nearly as many magic sites as there are in the early age, which is saddening to me. I know it's a balance point, and it's kind of like a feature and a way to kind of like change up the gameplay and make certain things matter more, and you can't be as frivolous about certain things. But I also kind of just feel like it makes a blood-heavy concentrated meta even more favorable for blood-heavy concentrated metas, right? And what I'm talking about is the scarcity of magic sites in Middle Age and Late Age compared to Early Age, right? Middle Age and Late Age have higher populations, which lead to more money, which leads to, more troop-based early games, and then higher populations lead to high blood economies in later games. But even in the early game, there's still a lot of blood happening, right? So... and the meta is so dominated by demon summonings and shit like that I'm just like, I don't like that scarcity of magic gems in Middle Age and Late Age just reinforce the idea that blood is the best, right? It kind of, I don't know. Like, it's for me, it's unappealing. But it is what it is, right? Like, it does make the game unfun. It just, I think it kind of, like, reinforces a meta that I'm starting to get a kind of, like, bored about. Which is going to be funny, because I'm going to laugh when, like, the next game I play, I'm going to be like, all in blood, baby, let's go! Because, like, I just don't play a lot of blood, so I might as well give it a go, right? Anyways, yeah. So, getting additional fire is pretty important for us. We are now up to 4 fire income. We want to get higher, obviously. We would love to get upwards of 10. But right now, I would just love to get to the point to where we have, 6 fire income? That way we can do 2 lightless lanterns every single turn. because that will do a lot to help fix our research issues. Unfortunately, we're pulling teeth. We're doing a lot of auguries, and it is just not happening, right? So, fingers crossed there. We got a couple of battles to watch. We've got Arco fighting against Pelagia on the west coast. So let's see what happens here. Arco attacks Pelagia in the Viserion Arches, and this, I believe, is a this is a magic phase attack. This person teleported in, and they are doing a Doom pool against this Pelagian force, and then they do a little returning. Sweet, very cool. Nice. And then they actually attack. So there's 32 here. Then Arco actually attacks Pelagia. And there's a bit more than 32 here now. So Pelagia kind of like pulled in units after the fact. And this, I think, this force from Arco would probably have dealt very well against that little 32 stack. But I'm not sure it's going to do as well against this stack from Pelagia. So, what do we have going on here? We've got a little backfill with some Bakemonosho and some Peltists. We've got a core of Heart Companions and a line of Hoplites. And then we've got some green lines in the middle. Green lines are very interesting scenarios. I think they're kind of cool units. They get a mixture of uses. Some people use them really heavily, some never use them. And then we've got a couple of Mystics. I'm assuming we've got some buffs that are going to come out from some of these. We'll see how that goes. Not a lot of gems on them or anything like that. So I'm expecting like Legions of Steel type stuff or something. I don't know. Over here on the Pelagian side, we have a whole butt ton of Wave Warriors, which is kind of indicative of what Pelagia is going to do. A couple of Champions of the Closed Realm, which is some of their the Sacreds that can go on land. We have a couple of Pearl Mages hanging out. We've got a Triton King. We've got some Pelagian Mystics hanging about. Bunch of various units here. Let's see what goes on. Right. Got some Winter Wards going on. We got a Grip of Winter coming out from a Hydromancer on the side of Pelagia. And that's not good for the Arco side, because that's definitely going to lead to a lot of fatigue on their part. Got some Strength of Giants coming out. We got some Frozen Hearts, Earth Melds. Interestingly, Pelagia's own units don't have cold resistance, so they are also going to fatigue out. Their mages have some cold resistance, but their infantry does not. That's kind of interesting. Ooh, we got some gifts from heaven dropping on down. I think the issue here is going to be just one of numbers, right? Like, Pelagia is enveloping the forces of, very strangely though, not actually attacking. They're so attack reared that they're missing these very vulnerable mages that they could be fighting against. And the front line of Arco is kind of holding up. I think this is where it starts to go, though. The attack rear did work. The front line has started to falter, and yeah, that's pretty much that. Still, that did seem to do some work, right? We had 110 units from Arcos Volley, so that actually had quite a bit more, primarily because of these Bakemonosho. There were actually a lot of them there, but because they're so tightly packed, it's hard to kind of tell, right? So a pretty heavy investment. Several mystics lost, and Archosu, I think, lost. A sleeper lost. Wow, really? And then actually not that much lost on the side of Pelagia. 49 Wave Warriors as kind of a whatever scenario. The 11 Champions of the Closed Realm. No mages, right? So pretty decent victory for Pelagia. That was unfortunate, I think, for the side of Arco, because they did have a good game plan coming in here. This astrologer did doom a good amount of units. And then this force totally would have destroyed what was there, and probably would have destroyed a fair amount of reinforcements as well. But this was just too many reinforcements, right? Like Pelagia either already had intentions or read the play well and came in with a good game plan of their own. So that's unfortunate. Other battles, we got... Do I need to pull this off real quick? We got a battle between Jotunheim and Vanheim. I said I was going to try to get more scouts in there so we could see what was going on between them. So hopefully we witness something cool. We got a little stack of units from Van, some Jotun spears, a Veti Hag, a small force of PD. So nothing big here. Swarm casting. And out. Swarm in the backfield. Some Jotun giants supported by Swarmcast, and this should be a pretty easy raid. Yeah, nice. No big deal there. Cool. All right, that is it. We don't have any of our own battles to report on this turn. It's kind of a slow turn for us. No big deal. Got a couple of events. In Might Marsh, there is a rebirth proc, so gain some population and some income. In Old Man Mountains, a treasure has been found. Woo, and a nice treasure, too. Fair amount of gold, some fire gems, and a brazen vessel. That's pretty cool. We're not currently planning on running up blood any more than we have at the moment. That is a very late game kind of luxury concept for us. But a brazen vessel is very nice for us to just have on hand in case we do need to boost into blood for something. So that's pretty cool. And then in Bara, a local wizard has been lynched after allegations of turning a peasant into a frog. His magical resources have been transported to the lab, so we got some more nature and astral pearls. So events for the turn, 0 negative, 3 positive. In Might Marsh, the population went up by 270. The income went up by 1. We got gold plus 830, fire plus 2, astral plus 2, nature plus 2, and a brazen vessel. So... hell yeah, that is a hell of a haul. Not gonna lie. And we are, of course, very excited to have that gold. Mama Pacha the Wingless Koya also foresaw, because I always forget that a lot of our mages actually have the foresight scenario or fortune teller ability on them. So Mama Pacha foresees a arena in a couple turns, which is cool. That'll be neat. Maybe we'll send someone in. Probably. Construction of the fortress in Olifa is completed. Nice. Couple things going on there. What are we doing this turn? We've got a few specifically interesting things happening. First, we're sending another big set of Haten Runa at Forgotten Woods. Again, we do not expect them to win. We do not expect them to survive. We are hoping that they kill 20 to 30 deer tribe, and that's that, right? Kill or facilitate the killing of, right? Like, if the deer tribe dies because they're shotgunned by the monolith, cool. Same difference to us, right? All of these are just already written off. We don't care. So that is the hope. I don't know if that's going to work. It didn't work very well last time, but as you can see, we actually have them synced up this time, so fingers crossed. We'll see how it goes. Other thing that we have going on, I think this is really the only other big thing, right? Is we're sending Pachacuti out with the main body of our army to Set Randith. We talked about this several turns ago, right? I think it's probably been 10, 15 turns at this point when we found the Ancient Master. But we were this was prior to us. This was prior to us making the deal with Vanheim. This is prior to us engaging Vanheim's territory and taking it. This is prior to us having focus on Olifa, etc., etc. So now we are kind of at a peace scenario. We no longer have to focus on the utilization of that military body. So we're going to try to train it up. We're going to try to go for that concept of making basically a training facility where we can shovel or send units through, get them easily up to experience stars 1, 2, and maybe 3. 3 is a bit more of a stretch. Anything beyond 3 is kind of a shit ton of an investment. But at 9 experience, right, because you get 1 experience every turn you live, you get 8 experience off of this. At 9 experience for a turn, it does not take long to get to experience stars 1 and 2. 3 is 100 experience, so that is a bit longer. But if we're not doing anything for a while, it's awesome. I am screwing this up though, and I realized this after the fact. I was not thinking about. I'll say this actually. We are recruiting Paquos. We're probably going to be recruiting several Paquos. The force that we have here already has a number of wounds and diseases, right? I'm sending Mama Pacha there to heal some of those wounds off, right? And we're going to put some Paquos of the Mountain Spirits in Sat Randith to heal off some of those diseases, save some units. I was not thinking about it in appropriate tandem, though, because we're about to cause a shit ton more diseases and wounds, because this group, after Mama Pacha's reduction, is going to come in at around like 390 supplies, and there's only 255 supplies in Sat Randith. This is absolutely not something that we had to do. We could very easily have taken a few turns to, like 1 turn to throw up 3 or 4 endless bags of wine or a cauldron of broth or something like that. I just was not paying attention, and I do this all the fucking time. The supply mechanic in this game is one of the least... It's one of the mechanics that I interact with the least and bites me in the ass the most. I cannot... I mean, you guys... I put up my multiplayer games. You guys see, like, at least once, if not several times in a multiplayer game, I will make the mistake of not having enough supply items on a large army. I'm assuming I'm gonna make it more times in this game. It's just such a thing that's so, like, out of sight, out of mind for me, that a lot of times I completely forget about it as a mechanic until it becomes a problem, right? This isn't me bitching at the mechanic, by the way. Like, I think the mechanic's perfectly fine, right? This is just me having a mental block where I'm just like, a mechanic exists? What? I don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't sound like anything that I've ever heard about. Like, I know nothing. So this is gonna be a bit of an annoyance. Fortunately, I will say this. Fortunately, of all the nations to do this on, Nazca is actually a nation that I think can handle this. So we're probably gonna cause another 50 fucking diseases and quite a few more wounds, right? But we have units like the Pakwa of Mountain Spirits, which do disease healer every single turn, right? We have Mama Pacha, who does healer every turn. So I do actually think, while this is going to be annoying, and while we might lose some units to the diseases that ensue from here, I don't think we're actually going to be losing much. This is way more manageable from a... this is a This is a oof quality of life annoyance issue rather than a, oh, I forgot supplies and this is going to screw over this army that was on an enemy's capital, and now that enemy, you get what I'm saying, right? So of all the times for us to make this mistake, this is the time to make this mistake. So that be what it be, yo. Other than that, not a lot going on. Oh, I didn't talk about this last turn. This is my bad. Last turn, there was an Olmish army here in the Caves of Mira, and we actually moved into Blackport thinking, because Ulm has been talking about how they are going to throw Pelagia off of Blackport, right? I was assuming that there was going to be a massive engagement there, but it looks like they have pulled back and are maybe reconsolidating some of their power before they head towards Blackport. So I do still expect that to be a thing that happens. Maybe it happens after they take Ashdod, although I would hope that this army marches from Ashdod to into Vanheim or something like that, right? But we'll see. Nothing really else to discuss as far as worldly problems go, so let's move on to what's actually going up this turn mechanically. We've got buildings. We've got one palisade and one temple going up the turn. That 800 gold basically that we got is going to be put to work immediately. We got 100 gold last turn, so 800 gold this turn, and our income is up a little bit, up to 297 income in Olifa. So that's nice, right? So we've got this situation where we have some money to spend, and we actually have money held over this turn, because like I said last time, we're not gonna put money into troops or anything like that. So normally I would try to just spend my treasury down. Nope. We have recruited the things that we want to recruit, and we built the things that we want to build, so we're saving money for next turn's recruitment and building, right? So this turn for recruitment, we've got 2 Huron Priest, 1 Karaka, 1 Akla, and 5 Sun Guard. So let's talk about that. All of those are relatively normal. Huron Priests, we want more Huron Priests for combat potential. Specifically because we might throw a bunch of Huron Priests at Forgotten Woods with a bunch of hordes of skeletons and things like that to try to figure out that issue, right? But also because Huron Priests are just good units. The Karaka is recruiting that over here in Neefel to take over this building of this palisade, so that this guy can continue to patrol. The Akla, we've talked about that. We're probably going to recruit an Akla every single turn for the foreseeable future, because 1 Akla, 1 Lightless Lantern, boom, go research, thank you. So there's that, and then the Sun Guards continue for the rest of forever. Nazcan special recruitment. We've got 46 Hatan Runa this turn, which was a pretty big pile. We got 63 Long Dead warriors coming out this turn, which is awesome. And we've got 6 Supayas now that we have this Huaka headdress on QC. I'm very excited about that. So yeah. We are looking up. It's still very, very, very behind. I'm actually... We just did the year 4 recap. I'm actually really excited because we're kind of in this interim period where I think what we're going to see, the differences, hopefully, fingers crossed, right? But I think the differences that we're going to see between the year 4 recap and the year 5 recap, I think we're going to see a massive amount of improvement there in what are we generating as far as free spawn goes, right? How much infrastructure and mage recruitment and research, etc., etc. I think this is the year. This is probably going to be from an action standpoint a relatively boring year, from turn 48 to turn 60. But I do think it's actually going to be an incredibly profitable year for us if we can actually not get engaged upon by Pelagia or Ulm or Vanheim or who the fuck ever. But hopefully, yeah, we're in the clear and we're gonna do well. So we still have special recruitment going. 1 Dire Wolf this turn. Nothing crazy there. And then we've got some rituals. Same set of nonsense, right? Bunch of site searching rituals. 2 augury, 1 auspex, 1 voice of Apsu, our first one. 1 gnome lore, 1 arcane probing, and 1 dark knowledge. So should be good. And then forging this turn, we have a little bit of a different situation as well. We are forging 2 smashers, 1 lightless lantern, and 1 ring of regeneration. So, these smashers, right? Like, the smashers are not an especially unknown concept. We might do some stuff with... I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I want to try to do, right? So, smashers are relatively easy for us to produce. I'm thinking correctly. Yeah, right? A smash... Oh, actually, that's a pretty hefty investment. Smasher is a 8 gem investment, so maybe I take that back. But 2 smashers... Probably... I can't decide whether or not it's actually better to use 2 smashers or whether it's better to use a smasher and a shield for defense or something like that. But the idea is that we might use our werewolf, right? Put on a bunch of lightning resistance gear, give him a smasher, give him a ring of regeneration so he regenerates a shit ton every turn for any chip damage, and let him just go in, fluff him up, and let him just shred through everything. Maybe throw, maybe prior to that do like an Hatzenruna earthquake round to where we try to get rid of most of the deer tribe, and then send in the werewolf against the watchers and the monolith, and hopefully that's fine, right? The issue there being, though, is that setup is going to work just fine against the watchers, right? The watchers won't be able to do shit, but the monolith can still just go bzzz and zap the werewolf if the AI decides to be an asshole, basically. There's also the issue that the monolith has... astral gems are kind of like a whatever situation, but there's a shit ton of earth gems on the monolith still, right? So we might need to kind of wave after wave burn down some of the gems that monolith has, so it doesn't do like living earth or just large earth elementals or things like that, because that would fuck up our plans as well, so... but that being said, right, like, we're just moving more towards that concept of what can we do towards Forgotten Woods, figuring that out, etc., etc. Last little thing to kind of talk about is outgoing trade. So, outgoing trade, Jotunheim, 200 gold, and 5 of all the gems. 5 fire, 5 air, 5 water, 5 earth, 5 astral, 5 death, and 5 nature. What is this? This is guilt. That's what this is. This is guilt. So we've had a Coast Guard channel for a while, and we've had an Elf Guard channel for a while. The Elf Guard channel is the channel in which Jotunheim, Ulm, and Naba and I all got together on the concept of coalitioning Vanheim. Then Naba backed out, and then I back alley dealed my way out, and then Ulm, apparently there is no deal. There was no deal between Ulm and Nazca. I got that from the players. But there was a standing, kind of like from Vanheim of, I don't want to fight you, and if you don't fight me, I won't fight you kind of concept, right? So it's this open scenario of like, the fight only has to happen if you push the fight, right? And so Jotunheim Grippa, right, is obviously not a stupid player. And it only took so long. We stopped, right? Like, Vanheim and I stopped doing the whole raiding back and forth. Although, even if we had continued, I don't think it would have helped that much. It would have helped a little bit, but it probably would have only gained us a couple more turns. Basically, like, Jotunheim posted in the chat, hey, noticed no one's attacking Vanheim. Guess I'm in this war on my own type scenario, and they're not wrong, right? So, Ulm and I, of course, both made ovations of like, oh yeah, sorry, got distracted. Oh, you know, trying to do this, but they're just excuses, and we both know it, right? Like we threw Jotunheim to the proverbial wolves, and this is guilt money, right? Like this is me sending guilt money to Jotunheim with the concept, the overages of like, oh, I am gonna fight Vanheim. We need to just focus our efforts, and I'll be in shortly. And I do actually think that we will be fighting Vanheim in the next 10 turns. But I don't think that that's going to matter to Jotunheim. I think Jotunheim's going to die before this. This is actually probably just me wasting gems and gold, but it's also giving me a no. It's an excuse, right? Like this is guilt money being thrown over to Jotunheim, and I don't think it's going to buy me anything, right? Like it does not restore my honor by any stretch of the imagination. It does not assuage the annoyance or frustration of being screwed over by any stretch of the imagination. Fuck, it sucks, right? Like the best laid plans are just that, right? Like, of course, at the end of the day, people gonna do things differently than you anticipate. That's the beauty and the nature of this type of game, of the multiplayer scene, right? That's the beauty and nature of Machiavellian diplomacy. At the end of the day, I still feel 100% assured in the idea of, had it been Jotunheim, Ulm, and I, all three of us in a war against Vanheim, I think Vanheim would have obliterated me, right? And Jotunheim and Ulm would have won, and I would be in tatters and probably just food for Pelagia or Ulm themselves, right? I do still think that for us, right? Obviously not for Jotunheim, but for us, for our faction, our nation, right? The correct choice was to make this deal and to grow off of it, and then hopefully have a shot at the late game, right? But I still am so assured. I feel so correct in the idea that if Ulm had fought with Jotunheim, and I can't be mad at Ulm, right? Like I cannot blame Ulm for doing basically the exact same thing that I did, right? I'm just over here like, damn it. No, that's not how that was supposed to happen. You were supposed to work with our ally, and you both were supposed to take the brunt of the pain. Fuck. Oh god. So yeah, I feel bad. This is guilt money. It's not. I don't think it's guilt money that's gonna save Jotunheim. I don't think it's guilt money that's gonna give me back any honor or credibility with Grippa. I apologize, Grippa. It sucks. The only thing I can say is that's not how I thought that was gonna go. I honestly thought that was gonna go a different way. But that's it. That's all I can say and all I can really do at this point. Even if we end our nap now, right? It's turn 56 before we can attack. I think Jotunheim's probably dead or all but dead by that point. Even though they have been putting up a good defense, I think they're just hemorrhaging at this point. And I still am of the opinion that even if we ended our nap, attacked at turn 56, I think Van would smoke us, right? I think the only way we are still kind of in that Ulmish power spike scenario, although I am kind of concerned. I do think we are, depending on what Ulm is doing in the background, right? Like if Ulm is building up a blood economy, if Ulm is diversifying their mage core, all those types of things, which I do think they're doing. I've heard positive things about that. But Ulm has this kind of like sweet spot of very strong at a certain point in the game, and after that they kind of taper off if they don't do those other things. And even if they do those other things only kind of like give them the opportunity to be better in the late game. They don't make them great in the late game. They're just not a nation that has a good late game basis, a good foundation for the late game, right? So, aside from their ability, their intense ability to just forge the shit out of things, which is very nice. So that whole situation is, I don't think that we have any recourse outside of piggybacking off of Ulm still. So, I think I talked about this in the last video. We are talking with Ulm. We have been talking about with Ulm about what's going to happen, what are we going to do. Right now, Ulm is still very focused on finishing off Ashdod and on taking the Throne of Death from Pelagia. So, for now, I'm going to sit on my hands, right? I'm not going to engage the existential threat without my big partner to make it even possible, right? Because it's not even an option on our own, right? Like, we will just die if it's just us versus Vanheim, even with Jotunheim's support. Ulm has to be involved in the mix. Ulm's not ready to be involved in the mix, so we're not moving. And that's that. That's pretty much it. So we're going to send this guilt money to Jotunheim, and we're going to cross our fingers and hope that they do the Lord's work and survive for another however many turns. I don't think that that's going to happen, and that is entirely our fault. And it's going to affect how I sleep at night. And that's the turn. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Oh, fuck. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.